Dr. Draghi had taken the previous models of natural family planning, which in themselves were very effective, but he had combined them into one simple and intelligible method of natural family planning. Our challenge was to take his idea and turn that into a remarkably user-friendly smartphone application.
I went to one of the most competitive and most rigorous family medicine programs. It's a UCLA program. I delivered well over 500 babies. Along the way, I was blessed to meet my wife, Mariah.
When we first got married, we thought we'd have children, and after the first year, when we didn't get pregnant, we knew there was a problem.
And that was a real tough thing for us, and we both felt called to be parents, and here we were going to 6 different infertility specialists and not being able to achieve pregnancy.
We started trying to get pregnant, taking different drugs and things like that to try and increase fertility, and it just wasn't working. It was really a challenge for both of us. I knew that I was called to be a mom, so I really couldn't figure out why that wasn't happening for me. And I knew that he would be a great dad, and I just was wondering if that opportunity was going to pass us by.
And at the time, you were doing the ultrasounds, because Mariah's a sonographer, and she was doing all the ultrasounds of everyone else's baby and seeing them in the well-child visit afterwards, and they say, well, gee, do you have children? And
every patient I would scan their baby, they would always ask me if we had children, so it came up multiple times a day, so it was an extra challenge. We didn't want to use anything that was artificial or chemical or that could harm my body.
So when Dr. and Mrs. Draghi came to us with this idea, we knew that it wasn't something that they just had thought of overnight. We knew that this was the fruit of 10 years, really, of the best medical research in the field of women's health and fertility.
We did training with the Paul VI Institute with Dr. Thomas Hilgers, and through all of that training, we were able to kind of look at our own fertility and find out what the medical problem was. We started to look at where she had problems with fertility, and it was very clear that after ovulation, her progesterone levels were quite low. And we would have never known this without the charting. It's a window into the health of that woman, knowing whether they have endometriosis, whether they have some other hormonal problem. We actually solved the underlying infertility problem. Not only became fertile again as a couple, but were easily able to have children.
He had combined the best methods and most effective methods of natural family planning.
So not only did we have our first daughter, and we thought, well, wow, we were very blessed. We were so grateful to be parents, and to God have blessed us with Marissa. And then 15 months later, there we are, we have our second child. So, and that was my son Nico. And Nico has been a real blessing in our lives. And again, we thought, wow, this is amazing. And 18 months later, our other son was born, Isaac. And again, a total blessing. I mean, I can't describe how wonderful it is to be a parent. And it really was important for us to take the success we had in having our children and be able to give that to others. So this is a big reason why we created MyFertilityMD. 10 years of research on fertility has now led to us being able to develop this, to put this in the hands of people, and that's what led us to decide, well, we really need to create an application that is inexpensive, very accessible, and allows couples to really know when they're fertile and when they're not. Such a problem with natural family planning in the past is people had to take these long courses. They had to work with a special trainer, which may or may not be available to them. Well, this is all available to you in the palm of your hand. The old calendar method, basically based on when the menstrual cycle came, they would kind of look at the calendar and decide when they would be fertile or not. Well, you can have the most irregular cycle. And this method of natural family planning or organic family planning will actually tell you when you're fertile or not, even if you have very irregular cycles.
The remarkable thing about this app is it takes all the past methods of natural family planning and combines them into a very simple and user-friendly charting experience.
When we were working in our medical clinic and encouraging couples to really take a good look at natural family planning, that this was inaccessible, meaning that there weren't enough teachers. There weren't enough methods. It was very expensive for them to buy the materials to be able to access natural family planning. This ability for women and couples to know when they're fertile and when they're not, and be able to use that for whatever their needs are, to avoid pregnancy or achieve pregnancy, we found that there was a significant success rate. Well, the main reason that we decided to make MyFertilityMD as an application for iPhone and for Android was because we really saw tremendous blessings in being able to know when we're fertile and when we're not, and as a couple. And we realized that other couples need to have access to this too. It needs to be inexpensive. It needs to work really well. It has to be of high quality. This has never been available before. So what we've done with this app is we've been able to make this very accessible. Now with my patients, I can actually say, look, here's an app that you can get that is really inexpensive. And once you've bought it, you've got it to use for the rest of your life. If you're not sure how it's working for you, you can ask the doctor and they'll coach you through this. This makes the accessibility of natural family planning very easy. It's in the privacy of people's homes. They're able to share their information, their chart, with their physicians, with each other. It really creates a community.
It might sound too good to be true, but MyFertilityMD actually puts the user into direct connection with a team of medical professionals, real doctors who can quickly respond to all of your individual and specific fertility questions.
This is one of the most simple apps that you can use. So any user can use it. It's very self-explanatory. Again, whether you just get access to the internet and use the website, or you pull it up on the app, you quickly have access. We have videos that clearly instruct you on how to check your fertility signs, those signs that tell you whether you're fertile or not. So not only are you tracking your fertility, knowing when you're fertile and when you're not, but you have access to an expert doctor who knows about fertility and they can coach you through that. Now in the privacy of their own home, they can take their information, learn how to track their fertility, and now be able to identify when they're fertile or not. Also identify whether there's certain medical problems existing. It calculates her fertility right there immediately. So she's not having to wait till the end of the day. As she goes through the day, she's able to observe her biological markers and know whether she's fertile or not. She doesn't have to write things down on a paper, remember, take mental notes. She just puts it in as she goes, and the computer does the rest. It tells her when she's fertile, when she's not. It puts it on the chart. This is really revolutionary. This is something that's new, something that's never been seen before in family planning. My name is Nicholas Draghi, MD, and I am the husband of Mariah.
And we're the founders of MyFertilityMD.